So let's see where to begin. First of all, everything's going really well with our particular project internally. So we have the internal project to talk about a little bit, and then the symposium I want to update people on briefly. And then if there's anyone on the call who's relatively new or doesn't feel plugged in enough and has any questions, I want to answer those. So I don't think it's anybody's first call. So I won't go back to that level of detail.
My name is Melissa Bryce. I am brand new. I am joining from Chicago. I'm part of 350 Chicago and found out about this through Merrill Greer.
Right. Oh, wonderful. Welcome.
Yeah, so my first time here.
Great to meet you. If you could type in your email, anyone else new for the first time?
Hi, Todd. Can you hear me? This is Andrea Wotan.
Yes. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, I'm brand new, and thanks so much for inviting me or giving me the chance to be here. I have to admit, I don't quite understand what it is that you guys are doing, so I'm so excited to be here and just listen in. And of course, I heard about you from the DNC Climate Roundtable.
Oh, right. When I was posing the questions, we were chatting because I knew your name looked familiar. That's why I was trying to place it. That explains it. That we were given a little chit chat on the Q&A. They shut down the Q&A after that, so we must have said something right. And where are you from?
Oh, I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Wonderful.
I'm getting a delay. I think something's wrong with my computer. Where are you from?
Oh, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, okay, Michigan.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, I know it. Big school there. Are you with any particular climate groups?
I'm not. I'm just here as an individual.
Wonderful. Yay, we love that.
Thank you.
That means you don't have, that means you might have some time.
Believe it or not, probably, I don't know. I'm involved in a bunch of different things, so we'll see. But I'm excited to see what you guys are doing.
Great. Well, welcome. Anyone else new for the first time?
I'm new for the first time. This is Jimmy Pryor in Houston, Texas.
Yes. Welcome. Welcome, Jimmy. We were on the US CAN call together.
Right.
Great. Oh, it was so great to meet you on that call. Anyone else new that wants to say hi? The numbers bounced up a little bit. We're like 18 of us now.
I'm Peter Michael. I'm from Syracuse, New York area, and involved with the 350.org group and a Citizens Climate Lobby, and also a Rotary climate group.
Wonderful. And what area again? What?
Central New York, Syracuse, New York area.
Welcome. All right, so since we do, anyone else new? Okay, well, since we have a few new people, I'll just briefly say this climate crisis policy is our main group name, but we created that primarily for the digest that we created, which is a compilation of over 150 expert reports in the state and federal level. And we created this comprehensive digest of all the climate solutions so that we could see the whole picture of what everybody's talking about and figure out where the common ground is so we could go on this path of resolving differences and aligning interests and working together. Since we launched the digest in July, our network has just exploded really and expanded in every direction. And it's an informal network in the sense that we have not formalized any working arrangements or things like that. And we work on an open and transparent basis. And so all of our meetings, like this core meeting and our every 2 weeks on Wednesday, we have a general meeting at noon, which is largely education about various statutes or bills that are proposed. all of our meetings are open and welcome to the public, and we do that intentionally because we're trying to create this energy of inclusiveness so we can build a large enough movement and unite to have greater political power to actually pass some of these dreams. The network's really expanding exponentially lately, and some of the directions in which it's expanding is the faith community is really big. And so this week we're talking to the United Church of Christ has a big meeting with Alabama Interfaith Power and Light, and they expect 500 congregants. And that's going to be a great audience on Wednesday. In fact, I have to duck out of our meeting on Wednesday, half hour or so early. So we need to designate someone to moderate into that. I think I'm just going to ask Kath Skopik to do it because she does this all the time, and she'll be presenting.
We lost your sound, Todd.
You're muted, Todd.
Oh my God, how long have I been muted?
Just like 10 seconds. Sorry.
Oh, I wonder. Okay. That's good. Oh, you did that, not me. Oh, good God.
The list is
so anyway,
jumping
we'll
around.
probably have Catherine. Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
We'll have Catherine facilitate the end of the meeting on Wednesday. So back to briefly what we do. I was talking about the faith organizing. We have two big faith events coming up. One is the one I mentioned, and then the other one is the Washington Interfaith Group of employees of 70 religious organizations that have DC staff. And so I'm speaking to them next week. And both, I think, are interested in the adopted district avenue. So for the new people, we have an adopted district program, local organizations adopting their congressional district. And we invite everyone to do that, and many coalitions to go and present a climate bill package that we've pulled together of existing bills that have been filed recently that span all sorts of areas that have major coalition backing. And we're using that package of bills as an organizing tool to start bringing all the various interest parties and activist groups together as a foundation for work next year, which will be on much bigger pieces of climate legislation that are in the works from many directions, from what I understand. So we're building the adopted district team up a little bit, and Lavona Grow, who's now going to be leading the faith work more intensely, and Brenna Cohen are going to join Tara and Merrill. And so we're really going to beef up the staffing of the adopted district. So if we do get a new influx of folks over the next few weeks with everything we have going on, we'll have a system in place to manage that workflow. The bill package has got 10 bills in it, and we need to add some more bills to that. So we'll see when we can pull that off. I have to think about when to do that. Maybe later in the end of December, we'll be able to manage that. There's one thing that we need help with on the policy sector. So for the new people, we have policy sectors that match the digest, and those groups have been reviewing the House Climate Select Committee report against the digest, which has to see what's missing and what's included. And that work has been going well, and everybody's been coming giving report backs. And so this Wednesday we have electricity and land, water, and forest, I believe. And Christine is running that, and all that's going smoothly. Christine, anything you want to add about that?
No, not really. No, we just have two the coming Wednesday.
That's fine, because we'll do an update on the symposium first, and then we'll go into those, and we'll have plenty of time, plenty of material to fill out a meeting. No problem.
Okay.
I think, and we'll figure out when to get environmental justice and that and the mix. What we do need to do though is figure out how we're going to collect all the input on what's missing and how we're going to organize that. So we don't have to figure that out tonight, but don't know, do you have any thoughts about that, Christine?
I
Or
do
you-
not. I do not, Todd. I think we should talk about it maybe offline to see how you want it presented, and then we can give the direction. I mean, right now, everybody is just making a list, and they have included some of the missing points on the spreadsheet. But I think we really need to give them a little direction on how you want that done.
All right. I think it's just getting them to give us that list and then we got to merge them somehow. If they have lists. So, all right, we can, I mean, this is the core meeting for the new people. This is our core meeting, which is our sort of behind the scenes organizing teams. And so we do basically, it's like a general staff meeting and we stop on each little section and we do whatever communications we need around it and we move on. So like this is a working meeting essentially. So Christine, I don't know if we need how much detail. I think if people could just submit what their lists are of.
Do you want it in any special order?
I don't know. I feel like we have to see it first and then we'll know how to pull it all together. Maybe you're right. Maybe this does need a little thought.
Maybe we can review some of the report
You
backs
want to
that
share
were
with me
given.
later, let me know. And
Okay.
we can pull that. And if it,
I'm sorry, you're fading, you're chopped up. Couldn't hear
I'm getting
you.
bad connection here. If that happens again, I'll go in the other room.
Okay. I was saying maybe we could look at a couple of the report backs that are linked on the spreadsheet.
Go change, plug this in now.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go plug this in somewhere else. Let's hopefully. Can you hear me at all now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh. So,
So
hold on.
Rachel McLaughlin is on. Rachel, do you guys had some points on your report that were missing items. What would your recommendation be?
I don't know. Yeah, we just had we just took notes on what was missing, or what was, wait, this is what was included in the House report but wasn't in the digest? Or the other way around?
Yeah, that wasn't in the digest.
Okay, yeah, we just took notes. I mean, it's kind of tricky for us. We weren't sure what is actually worth adding to the digest. So a lot of it was like they didn't have these things that were in the digest. They kind of had like these other things instead, but that may not be effective, that kind of thing. I don't know if the building sector might have been a little bit of a weird case because they didn't actually have many mandates or anything.
Right. Okay.
So I don't
Thank you.
know. I think it's going to depend by sector too.
Yeah, definitely. Todd, can you hear us?
Yeah.
How about transportation? Thor's report, if I remember correctly, did a really good job at the end of highlighting what was missing. So maybe we could look at that one just to see the format, and then if you want to give direction from there, maybe.
Okay. So maybe you could look at a little bit of what has come in and ask a couple of the teams and get their ideas and how we could collect it all. And then we'll just gather it and then order it.
Okay.
Or I can give input at any point along the way. All right, we'll figure that out. I'm sorry, my brain is a little fried again because it's been nonstop. And I'll tell you more about what we've been up to with everyone in a minute. So, all right, but those are all the report backs, right? And except for EJ.
Right. EJ and then greenhouse gas policy, which I think you're saving to the end, right? The carbon bill.
Oh, yes. On that, is anyone from here, that team on the call?
That's Sally.
Sally's not here. What I need for that, I just need somebody who can put the questions that we've collected into a Google form and prepare that. So it's just like cut and paste into a Google form if you know how to use the Google Forms. So if anyone wants to help with that, please let me know. It won't take a lot of time, but it's just I've not been able to get to it, and I'm slowing down that team's work by not having that completed. All right. And then, so in terms, we have our meetings in December coming up, just in terms of our scheduling of things. How much schedule, what do we have on the schedule for December? What is it, 2nd and?
2nd and the 16th. And we have greenhouse gas policy, the carbon bills, and then the EJ and JT. So we just have those 2 sectors.
Okay. And do we need to reschedule environmental justice? So you'll put that somewhere?
That will be in December, yes.
One of those 2 dates.
Yes.
All right. Well, and closer in time, we can figure out what more content we need for those meetings.
Hey, Christine, this is Jan. I wonder if I could ask a question about the EJ JT thing.
Okay.
Colorado has passed a just transitions bill that covers both lost property tax revenue, relocation of employees, and retraining of employees in shutdown coal communities. That's designed to be expanded to places that have fracking hotspots as well. I wonder if you want to look at examples of past PASSED passed state legislation for use with the environmental justice program.
I can help address that a little bit. So, you know, we have digested a lot of state legislation. So if you have a new bill that passed and it's not in the digest, we can incorporate that into the digest if that's what you were thinking.
Yeah, I don't know if you're already past the point of reviewing all the state stuff to inform your decision making at the federal level. But if you're not, I'm happy to upload it. Otherwise, I'm just spinning wheels.
No, I hear what you're saying. So I think I would, we like augmenting the digest. Rachel Goodgow, who's, you know, in school, so very busy these days, usually will handle that. So if you have the bill links and a summary of it, but she would appreciate help, I'm sure, digesting it. So if you wanted to go look at the, we can even digest your bill using the spreadsheet that we're using to compare the digests. But would you be interested in doing the digesting of it?
You know, you tell me how I can be helpful. Right now, I'm on the greenhouse gas task force, but I'm happy to either submit it as a document, which can go into the repository, or to put it on the EJ spreadsheet. I just don't want to create duplication of effort.
Right. Okay. I think I should hook you up with Rachel Goodgow and let her guide you on how to add that document to the digest.
Okay, I have her email. I'll just shoot her an email.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. And it'd be interesting to go ahead and look at the EJ tab on the digest and see if there are any big things that pop out at you that are missing as ideas from the and that information would be good to share with the EJ team.
I'll take a look.
All right, great. Oh, Tara's here. Good. Welcome, Tara. Let's see. So that's the policy sectors, adopted district. We're good on. What else do we need to cover with respect to our own internal processes and work? Oh, the marketing campaign. I've updated people on this before, but I'll just say it again real quickly. Big Buzz is come on board, and we're already filled out a document, which is sort of a client intake form to, you know, put in what they need to understand about our work so that they can start their process. And so that's completed. And we had a marketing team meeting a minute ago, and we'll get that to them later this week. And that will continue that process. And we'll also be asking 3 questions to everyone about marketing. And so everyone will have an opportunity to provide some input that on that front. So the reason I'm a little stammering today is because we've been in the throes of working on this symposium for December 9th and 10th. And the idea of the symposium is to bring as many executive directors from as many organizations as we can together to have the basic conversation about what their plans are for next year and how we can unify the climate movement to work together going into next year. And that's obviously a very complicated conversation. We've probably invited 50 or so folks, and the team decided that all the invites should come from me after, and we had, they were divvied everything up. And then after we processed it, we're like, well, the first email should come from me. So as a result, this week, I have been sending out email after email after email to all these organizations. And we have a beautiful list of confirmed speakers already. That's really quite impressive even. And so that's very exciting. They just went out last week, so we still have a lot of confirmations to do and to pursue. So anyone who's interested in helping with that, particularly if you have relationships with any of the major big green organizations, we've divvied them up and people are doing the follow-up. But if you have strong relations, not necessarily at the top, although that'd be great, but at any level of the organizations, 350, Sierra Club, Nature Conservancy, Environmental Defense Fund, a lot of the big ones are there. And you have those kinds of connections and you would be willing to use them a little bit to help bring those folks to the table, we could use that kind of help. I was going to post here. I'll post all the co-hosts. Well, first I'll post the list of confirmed speakers so far. And it's quite nice. We may be, depending on who confirms ultimately, we may be reorganizing the framework of and not have quite as many sessions. There it is, for everyone can see it. Did it stop at number 3?
Yeah.
Oh, why is that happening? Oh, why that would be. Copying. Let's try it one more time. Oh, did that again. So why would that be working like that? So what could be wrong? Well, should I read them real quick? The groups. I'll just read the groups real quick. More time here. I'm going to try this last set. Oh, there's only went 3 at a time. So I'll do the next 3, I guess. Why is that? Is the chat limited in amount of?
Not usually.
I didn't think so either. Well, I think that's the rest of them. There you go. So it's great. We have the Poor People's Campaign with the co-executive director, Dr. Theonans. We have Citizens Climate Lobby, Green Faith, Climate Psychiatry Alliance, Center for Biological Diversity, Alabama Interfaith Power and Light. Reverend Malcolm, welcome. I see you're here. Project Drawdown, Physicians for Social Responsibility, National Family Farm Coalition, Hazan, the Heal Food Alliance, and Environmental Investigation Agency. So those are all great. And as I said, it just went out. So we're on top of a lot of other follow-up that's in the works. So I think we'll have a good showing of organizations. The Congress invitees are proving to be a little bit more complicated. So if anyone has leads to elected officials who are active in the climate arena and would like to help bring somebody in to help us have that panel come together, that would be wonderful. Please email me about that if you do, or you can just let me know tonight if you have any of those kinds of connections and you're willing to use them. We've invited Merkley, Representative Castor, and we're in talks with Senator Booker's office, and also the DNC Climate Council. We were a little skeptical about getting into any political ring, but now that the election's over, these folks have been holding roundtables and they're very much in the know as to who all is involved in the conversations, et cetera. So I think they'd be able to brief us, and I'm talking to them tomorrow. Talking to Senator Booker's office on Friday. So we'll see, but it feels like we need a little bit more outreach. And so on our call today with the symposium planning, people had all sorts of ideas. So if anyone else has an idea on that front, and we're actually willing also to welcome staff members, who are deeply involved in the climate work for those committees if we can't get the elected officials themselves. And that's fine with us, because really the goal is to have a conversation about the strategy, and the staff can talk to the strategy, the legislative strategy, and the relationships they have between Congress and civil society, and how we can maybe have a more regular flow of information back and forth. Because my real question there is, as I'm having these various conversations, I'm hearing the feedback, and I'm hearing a lot of gravitating toward just working with what they think they can pass with bipartisan support. And that's lovely as a plan, but it's not necessarily the plan that's going to get us to solutions that are going to save our planet. So our role is always pushing that conversation. And increasingly, I think the angle where we might have some impact would be to ask them, well, what kind of criteria are you using to ascertain the success of our legislative efforts? And in our conversations, it seems to be gravitating toward this concept of gigatons of greenhouse gas pollution. So if we could get them focused on that as a litmus test or as a standard, then all the various pieces of legislation and initiatives might start to lead toward a common denominator. So we'll see, but that's what all these conversations are for, to get this conversation in motion, not necessarily to come up with the solutions.
If you talk to Mark Reynolds of the Citizens Climate Lobby, I'm sure he would have ideas about politicians to connect with, because they're really connected with.
All right, I'll ask him. And Len and CCL was on our last call, and Mark Reynolds is coming to present.
Yeah.
So you're right, I could ask him. That's great.
That's
Okay.
great.
But Todd, this is Laura Rogers. Were you referring to Jeff Merkley of Oregon or Markey of Massachusetts?
Markey, and I always say those names a little bit confusingly, I
Okay.
know.
Because Jeff Merkley is another good one, and I'd be happy to help.
That would be wonderful. So Laura, can you shoot me an email right now,
Sure.
telling me policy about that? And we have a great team in Oregon of folks who I haven't seen here in a while, but I know they're active and busy.
Yeah.
So we can maybe tap into all of that, right, Tara? With the AAD team out there is wonderful. All right, great.
Yeah, this Rashinda, we just had an all Oregon wide meeting last week, and we had folks from every district. So we haven't, we're still putting the pieces together, but it's hopeful and it generated interest. So willing to help in any way, and definitely think Merkley would be a great poll, especially need someone from the West. Lots of stuff happens here.
And the other idea in that vein, I think Merkley is actually cleaner, but there's also Inslee, Governor Inslee from Washington, if we were to go to the state level, state, but I'm not.
And Inslee would be great to invite as well, if anyone has entrees to that. Not because he's from a state, but because he's in the leadership conversations about maybe being the climate czar. I just needed a pen and piece of paper from the other room. So great. So maybe Laura, you could connect with Rashinda.
Okay.
Rashinda, maybe you could.
Yeah, I just
can
sent
email
Laura
each
my
message.
email over chat. She probably, I don't have any connection to Senator Merkley, so she's a better person than me for that, but I'm willing to back up with, whatever, letting, folks know that people in Oregon are working on this across the state. That's statewide.
Wonderful. I think it would be great if the invite to Merkley came from, if you could write the invite and include some of your groups and CC, as many members of your team as you'd like, just to show that there's a big homegrown constituency for this request.
Yeah, sounds great.
Sure.
And,
right. And I'm sorry I couldn't attend things have been crazy. So we'll talk about who actually is in the group from Oregon. so that we're leveraging the full group. Great. Okay, wonderful.
Wonderful. And Laura, you're in Oregon as well, is that what I
Yes,
understood?
Portland.
Okay.
And I attended some of the early core team meetings, but life has gotten crazy, so I had to step back. I'm glad to
Okay.
be here today.
Ann Pickner as well is,
Yes.
yeah,
with-
if you know Ann too, that, you know, so that this group includes that and the
Yeah.
UW and I mean the UUs and stuff. Anyway, we can talk
Yeah,
offline,
yeah.
but yeah,
Great.
glad to connect with you.
Yeah, likewise. Ann's great.
That's
Small
wonderful.
world.
All right, great. It really is. All right, that's excellent. Any other suggestions for folks we might include, at least in our outreach, to invite that are, you know, leaders in the climate efforts? Okay, no worries, because there were a lot of ideas on our last call. But if any come to you and you want to invite people, just shoot me an email and I'll send you our sample invitation that's gone out, and you can modify that, of course, however you like. Good, good. How about the Big Greens? Anyone else here affiliate? I know we just
Yeah,
had Melissa.
Bryce here. Yeah, I can reach out to 350 National.
That would be wonderful. And is Meryl here? She was on our last call, but I'm not sure she's here. I haven't seen on her name. All right. So, and if you could send me an email, Melissa, at climatecrisispolicy@gmail.com.
Okay.
I'll connect you with the other 350 groups that are working on that outreach. And so we can pull all in the same direction.
Okay, perfect. And I don't know if you already have anyone from Sierra Club, but I work closely with the Chicago chapter, so they might be able to go up the ladder as well.
That would be wonderful. And we do. Catherine Skopik is the New York Sierra Club person, and she's point on that.
Okay.
But that would be great to have additional help through the local state chapters.
Okay, great.
Do we have,
Wonderful.
are we inviting Sunrise?
Sunrise is invited, of course, and Zero Hour and Young Republicans, spelled, you know, the climate group, and a faith youth group. So there's a few, but we could use help following up with phone calls. You know, the initial invite went out, but we definitely need some more help following up. Would you like to help with Sunrise?
Sure, I can try and help with Sunrise, yeah.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Okay. And our meetings for this are 4 o'clock on Monday. So if anyone's working on this kind of outreach, you're welcome, and anyone's welcome to those meetings, but it would be great if you came to those meetings so we could all stay coordinated. And if you want to do that, just let me know. I'll send you that link. Reverend Malcolm, you said you could help. That would be wonderful. Let's think about who in particular it might be great for you to ask. I was thinking about U.S. Climate Action Network, but I had a great meeting. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Todd, what I was offering is I can help to make some intros for you all. I don't really have the capacity to make the calls and do the connections in that regard, or the ask even, but intros, I can do some intros for you. Like I said, I don't know everybody, but I know a few. And so just let me know who you're trying to reach out to, and I can let you know if I might know them in some capacity.
All right, that would be great. Particularly as we go back to legislators, it might be helpful. Would it be possible to include you, like copy you on some of these invitations to just show the breadth of our planning committee?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Senator McEachin as well as Inslee, I do have connection with, so I can help you to make those connections if they're open.
What were those again? I'm sorry.
Senator McEachin.
Okay.
As well as Inslee.
Inslee. Oh, well, that would be great. Inslee would be wonderful, particular, and Meechin too. All right. So how should we proceed on that front?
Just submit an email and let me get back with you.
All right.
So, I'll just make a connection from that point.
Got it. Wonderful. All
Yeah.
right. And wonderful. And I know you're talking to Lavona about various things. That's all wonderful. Good. All right. So let's see what else. That's all going pretty well. I think that's it on the symposium. There's already 100 people registered and we haven't obviously started any outreach. I put the list of co-hosts. All of your groups are welcome to co-host. And I know some of you are speaking, but I didn't really, circle back on the ask of co-hosting, which we would just list you in that list. So if anybody's speaking that wants to co-host any groups, please let us know. But if any of your local groups can co-host, please add it to the list. It'll just, when we put the invitation out, it'll look really great if we have a long list of organizations there. It's quite diverse really already.
Would this be a good point to ask about hosting help?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to be heading the hosting of the event, and I'm trying to pull together a team of folks who can help with that. So I'm looking for people who, you don't need to have a lot of experience with Zoom, but if you're comfortable with the platform, we could use a small team of people to help run things behind the scenes.
Any volunteers?
Greg, what exactly do you need them to do?
Well, I think I'm looking for people who would know what that means, actually.
Yeah.
I don't want to be teaching it.
I think I can help that if you're looking for amateur help.
Is it like breakout rooms or stuff like that, or?
That's probably going to be handled by me as the host, but they're going to be like keeping track of recording. We're probably going to be pushing to YouTube or Facebook. Someone to keep track of time.
Okay.
There's a lot of different tasks.
That gives us an
notes.
idea. That's good. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And who tried to volunteer? Was that William?
Yeah, I don't know if my video is not working. Apparently, maybe my audio is. Sure,
Oh,
I can help with some of that. I am not a professional at that, but I have hosted some small meetings.
Okay.
Right.
Do we have your contact info, William?
I hope so. I get all the emails. So
Okay.
Somebody is sending me stuff.
Todd.
Greg maintains the master list, so he would have it. But if you want to
Yeah.
just send
I
it
can
in
type.
the,
I will send you in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Todd. This is
Jimmy.
Lavona. I'm on by phone. I couldn't get on by Zoom. Could we mention also that we need note takers?
Yes, great. Any volunteers to help take notes? It's going to be, it doesn't have to be verbatim notes. I think we're really looking at broad brush because we'll have the videos for people who really want that level of detail. But, good note takers. Any volunteers? If not, no worries. We still have time, but if you, decide you can or want to, let us know.
Hi, this is Keith. I can help with that.
Oh, wonderful, Keith.
I'm a
Thank
good
you.
note taker.
You're
Jean also
amazing
in the
writer.
chat. Jean also in the chat volunteered to take notes.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, Jean. Oh,
I just
wonderful.
turned
Great.
it off so the dog, I turned it off so the dog wouldn't bark at you, right?
Oh, thanks,
No,
Jean.
good.
That's wonderful.
Oh, no, you're welcome. I do that a lot. As long as it's, pen and not computer, I'm good, right?
Well, but they have to go from pen to computer.
Oh, computer's all right. I mean, I do Word all the time.
Oh, all right, all right. You can put them anywhere you want as long as they're in digital format. of
Oh,
some
no,
kind.
no, I can do that. I just don't want to deal. I don't want to handle the Zoom.
Oh, no. Okay.
No,
worries
that's fine. I'm good after the 27th. I'm speaking in Turkey on the 27th on artists and climate change at 5 a.m. here to Turkey.
Oh, wonderful.
I
From
know.
Alaska to Turkey.
Yes,
How
5
exciting.
a.m. on artists who contextualize climate change. So it should be,
Beautiful.
So I'll make sure our brand gets put in too.
Sweet. And Jimmy, I want to follow up with you because on the U.S. Climate Action Network, which we just joined, we were on both the an introductory meeting on that, and I asked a question, and then Jimmy started talking about this issue too of what a real plan looks like, what the elements of a real plan are, and how he doesn't see that in the macro movement. This is exactly the conversation that we're trying to have at the symposium. So, Jimmy, I don't know if you just want to say a couple words to phrase that question that you had again. And I'm thinking about whether it would make sense to have you on some of the panels posing the question for us, so I don't have to both moderate and pose that tricky question. So we can talk about that later, but go ahead for a couple words of what you were saying about that. I thought were interesting.
Yeah, what I was saying is that, in looking around the climate change movement, the different organizations involved, looking for strategy, it is very difficult to find it. And I was looking for strategy along 2 or 3 different parameters. One was, does the organization have a global vision of how we get from here to there? How do we get to saving the planet, zero emissions? And then secondly, what does the organization see as their role in that process? And thirdly, how do they see organizing people, bringing in millions of people into the movement, into the process? And what I have found is that is mostly tactics. Organizations that are focused on one particular aspect, usually near term, not the end goal, and that and what I have found has not been real straightforward, real visible, or what is real visible has been very sketchy. It's just sort of an outline, almost sloganish as to how the process occurs. And that I see that we have a real need to have more detailed plans, strategies, vision of almost step by step. How do we get from here to there in the multiple different facets of it, and who is working on what, who is doing what, and that for every organization is going to be different in terms of what it's focused on, but they ought to have some plans and make them public so that everybody knows what everybody else is doing, and so we can see where are the gaps, and where are we succeeding and where are we failing, and certainly the legislative process is a core element in that. It's not the only one, but certainly a very big piece of the overall thing. So that's what I was saying.
Thank you, Jimmy. Now you all can hear how excited I am, right? How he just words it so clearly, and and so I appreciate the way you encapsulate it. And thank you. I found kindred spirit immediately on that call, and I was so excited about it.
Me too.
Yay, good. And what's your name of your groups again, Jimmy?
Well, I'm with the Houston Climate Movement, which is focused mostly on local policy, City of Houston Climate Action Plan and Harris County Climate Action.
Wonderful. All right, great. So we'll follow up by email about that. What while you were talking, it made me think of something else I wanted to say, and I forgot about it. Forgot that quickly. But I saw people's heads shaking. So it sounds like we're on the right path in terms of what kind of conversation we're hoping to have at the symposium.
And to that end, again, I'm sorry I don't have context, so I don't know if this would be of interest to you, but someone who's done a lot of that type of work, and we call it roadmaps, because it's so important that you take advantage of the time that's left and go for the things that will get you furthest quickest in the right sequence. A person who's done a lot of thinking about that is a professor at Lewis and Clark Law School here in Portland. And I can send you, Todd, I'll send you a link. She founded the Green Energy Institute, and she's a dynamite speaker. And she connects well with the audience, but she also has it down, this whole business about how you build a roadmap. So that's another possible either speaker or resource.
All right, wonderful. That sounds great. It would be nice to bring, I heard another academic speak to this that was quite brilliant about these issues too. And I have her in my notes somewhere. I'll go back and look for that. Good, so we might want to bring in just a couple voices like this to help set the stage in each session. And that way we have some different voices presenting the question that's being posed. Another thing we're looking for is lawyers. And I've talked to, I'm trying to find where are the lawyer activists that working as a group on climate. And so we're looking around and asking around. Lavona's asking, I'm asking, Michael Gerard gave me a name of somebody, and we're trying to ferret out more names, but there doesn't seem to be a central legal group that is an advocacy group. And so I'm figuring out, this is one on my wish list of supplements to the capacity of the movement, because their power would be is vast because of their connections and relationships. And we just got to get them willing to focus on policy and become advocates. And I think they would do that. Somebody's mentioned Columbia Law. I know the Sabin Center, but Michael didn't refer me to anything there. The lawyers really want to work, the lawyers that I'm encountering keep talking about wanting to work within the existing political existence. Yeah, Earth Justice, somebody mentioned, we've invited them, and we've invited them to speak, and they're a good one. But those are the legal groups that do lawyering in the sense of, litigating the environmental movement like NRDC does and other things. And they work within a sort of the existing framework of laws, and they might have lobbyists and but I'm looking for like the grassroots lawyer people who are not affiliated with existing organizations, who want to take on the role of organizing lawyers, independent lawyers more broadly, like we have now, like we're doing with the faith community, like we're working with March for Science and draw down on the science community, trying to bring scientists into the advocacy arena as opposed to, just doing the analysis. So the missing link so far is, in terms of a big, powerful constituency, would be the legal community. And so this is a nut we have yet to crack. But if you know lawyers who are passionate about this topic, that are independent like we are, or smaller groups, please send me those referrals. And let's see if I don't know that we're going to be able to pull this legal community breakout group together for this symposium yet. It's just so soon, but we can still work on that over time. Not everything has to happen for the symposium, obviously. But there's nothing like a deadline to motivate us. So I'll put that out there. What else? Any questions or thoughts from everyone out there about what we're doing? Any questions about what's going on? Any confusion about anything? Any from the new folks, any questions that we haven't addressed or that you'd like us to talk about?
Yes, this is Jimmy. I'm just trying to get the picture, the understanding of how you're organized in terms of bringing in legislation to look at legislative proposals and how the review of that is proceeding.
So pulling together the climate bill package, we identified 10 bills that had, coalition backing, and they were coming across our radar and they were already on the digest. And we invited the leading organizations behind those bills to come and give tutorials essentially on the legislation. So NRDC came for the AIM Act, and Food and Water Watch, and Oceana for plastics. And we had the leading organizations behind these various bills. So every second Wednesday for several months, we went through this process as a community. And all those videos are on our YouTube channel. So if you start with the July 1st one, you'll see the first convening, which had the Sabin Center and Drawdown and several organizations, and Adam Ripken was there from Senator Booker's office. And then you'll see the sequential ones where we dove into specific pieces of legislation. And the conversation went so smoothly that we really ended up with an informal consensus process from all these various groups that are here on these calls. And we adopted that climate bill package really without an objection. So that was really smooth process, smoother than I anticipated. With some of the more complicated questions like carbon pricing, we have a special team on that, and we have collected questions. We're going to collect answers. We're going to have a more thorough conversation about that going forward. But our underlying premise is we're trying to unite across organizations despite our policy differences. And so that's why we're doing this on a very open and gradual process of communication, and bringing everyone along in a virtual consensus process without putting any rules about how we go about it. And the way we've created the Adopted District program is that local groups are adopting their districts, and then they're working with other groups. And it's up to those local organizations to do the same thing, review the climate bill package. If they like it, great. If there's some they don't like, then they won't necessarily advocate for those. And so it's very decentralized, and we're not making collective decisions at the top that everyone has to adhere to. And that's how we've been going about it. And the network is evolved. We were a group that created the digest, and so we had a lot of academics and research type of folks on that, and they're all listed on our website. And then when we launched in July, we pitched this idea of a climate bill package in the Adopted District program, and it really has taken off. And it's all volunteer run. And we have not formalized anything just yet where people sign on a dotted line, because the hope is that we're going to bring together all these parties, including the groups that are behind the various bills, and that will materialize in some greater unity at that level. To the extent that happens, we'll be very excited, and I'll be grateful, because that will take some of the work on. To the extent it doesn't, we're going to continue to forge ahead, offering our element. And we already have 60 districts adopted, and those campaigns and outreach are happening. And we expect an influx of those kinds of adopted districts from the various faith outreach that we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. And so we'll continue to work in that way to have our own congressional district organizational chart, essentially. And the package is just a sample set of bills, that cross sectors to get the conversation going and get the systems in place. But we expect that there'll be other legislation, of course, coming forward. And then we will be able to we'll be able to review that legislation, have conversations about it, see how it compares to the digest, which is the will of the masses, so to speak. And then we'll be able to focus our advocacy and going and communicating with those congressional districts. It seems from already our analysis is that there's a lot of programs, and they're all voluntary, and there's a lot of money being thrown around, and that's great. What seems to be missing is mandates, a calculation of greenhouse gas reduction impacts from proposed policy, and a timeline for implementation, and a way to evaluate all of that in real time as we're going forward to make sure that we didn't just pass something and then we're going to wait 15 years to see if it worked, because obviously then it's way too late. So that's the value added we think we're going to be adding to the conversation.
Okay. So is the digest available?
Yes, climatecrisispolicy.org.
Okay, I've been to that website where I couldn't find the digest.
Well, the digest is the website. And so if you look under each, it's organized by sectors.
All right. Okay.
Like Project Drawdown. So if you click on electricity, it'll pull up all the very specific policy recommendations enumerated under subcategories of just like Project Drawdown is organized.
Yeah.
And so you'll see, and then you see how the documents that had the same idea are cross-referenced.
Okay.
And then we have an environmental justice section and a just transition section as well.
Right. Okay.
Did the
All
same
right.
thing.
Yeah.
If you, if you're on the climate crisis policy site and you want to see what's made it into the current package, then you go to the menu in the top right-hand corner and click on that, and then click on action campaigns, which is the second item down in the menu.
Okay. Yeah.
And then if you scroll down through that, you can get to the bill package.
Yeah, I see. 2020 climate bill package and nationwide network, and then climate solutions, education, etc.
And the website is being updated. It was supposed to be updated this weekend to have it, what we were going to do, Tara. I haven't mentioned this to you. We were going to merge. I already wrote it all, so it's done. But it's just, I don't know if it's uploaded yet. We were going to remove the information about the bill package organizing from the action campaign page, and we were going to merge it with the 2020 bill package page, so it was all in one location. And I don't know if that's done yet. I haven't looked. It was supposed to happen this weekend. And then on the action campaign page, we were going to have information about. Bye, Reverend Malcolm. Thank you for joining us. I know we're in the minutia now. On the action campaign page, we're going to have information about the symposium, which is supposed to have a banner on the homepage. So that'll just make it easier as we're referring people to both of these things. Hopefully it'll all be streamlined. Are you there? Can you see if it's happened yet?
I don't think it's so the what was on the action campaign page would be on the front page.
No, it'll be on the 2020 bill package page.
Oh no, I don't think it's happened yet.
All right, I'll circle back on that. I meant to ask Reverend Malcolm before he left how long I had to speak at his event on Wednesday. It's his event and U.S. Conference, United Church of Christ, which has a huge reach, and various folks. Nancy Lawrence has been talking to a big network of Catholic groups all over the country. Lavona is just unbelievably engaged with all these faith groups. It's very exciting about how that's all coming together. And Tara, did you see all those emails connecting you with Brenna and Lavona? How's that sound? Is that all right?
I've seen them, but I haven't opened them yet.
No worries. Brenna's just looking to schedule a time for all four of you all to get together and sort of batten out. And on that, I know I keep saying this and I drop the ball on it every time, but could you just email me what your current version of is your first email that when somebody signs up that you send out, and maybe send it to that whole group on that thread.
Okay, I keep changing it depending on who I'm sending it to. That's why
I know that's always the case.
I'll try and just get a.
But the template, whatever the basic template.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, wonderful. And Lavona, is there anything further you want to say about the faith organizing or anything? Maybe we lost, oh, she's there, but maybe she's on mute. She was on the phone. All right. Any other questions from folks who are new or any questions? Don't be shy. We'll answer a few more questions and then we'll call it a night for tonight.
I'm Marita Bouchot. I've never joined any of your meetings before, but I have received the emails and kind of followed what you've been doing. I signed up for the gathering in December, but I'm working with MN350 in Minnesota, mn350.org. And we as part of their food systems climate action plan, they are creating a campaign to pass the Headwaters Community Food and Water Bill. I wrote the bill for the state of Minnesota to create and maintain a regenerative food web economy designed from source to table to meet the demands of food, water, and climate. So the purpose of the bill really is, it's a Green New Deal for food and water. It creates a local system across the state that's connected and coordinated but decentralized. So it's designed to replace our dependence on industrial agriculture, and it provides the resources to do that. It's really a bill, you could drop it anywhere. You could take it to Wisconsin or Maine or any state and simply put it in that state or region and say, here's what we're going to do, because it's comprehensive and holistic in its approach. So
wonderful.
I thought I would introduce you to it. And we're trying to be in conversation with the national leaders when we can. Things seem to be fairly scattered, you know, lots of different groups trying to get something to happen with the Green New Deal. But this bill was introduced. We didn't get a hearing because we had a economics development committee leader who wasn't interested in it, but we're going to reintroduce it. So I'm happy to share it with you.
Wonderful. Well, you know, we have an incredible farm and ag part of this network. And they're really, the list of folks that have already said yes is good, but the list that they expect to join for the symposium is quite good. I don't know if you saw the list, but all these groups start to sound alike, but there's several of them. And Family Farm Action Alliance is our sort of core team partner. And then the Organic Consumers Association, and also Liz Henderson's group, which is the New York Northeast Organic Farmers Association, I think. You know how it is with all these names, they all start to merge and sound alike. So we have a great sector there, and we'd be wonderful if you'd like to, we could introduce you to those folks, and they're working on national policy, and so that would be great. And which 350 chapter did you say it was?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, wonderful.
So it's MN 350. So they're a climate action group, just like all the rest of them, but they have a food systems team, and it's a very large team of people. They're really engaged and recognizing that we need to do something to address really a holistic approach to our food system, because as long as we're dependent on this industrial system, we simply, it's an extractive economy. It's going to be gone in 20 years, whether we do anything or not. That's just how it's going to work. So we need to replace it. And indigenous communities have lived sustainably for thousands of years, and they actually have the skills and knowledge and seeds and foods that we still need today. So this approach that we're taking is about building a system that would rely on that kind of local knowledge and all the seeds and plants that are adapted locally, because that is the way that you build a system that works.
That's very exciting. Have a look at the digest. I just put it in the link. We have 2 whole sections in the digest on food and ag and farm policy. And we intentionally went beyond sort of specific greenhouse gas and climate farming issues, because we really wanted to join forces with the food and ag movement writ large. So we just took everything they had to say about it. And we had people from the Lower M Tisch Center and all sorts of groups contribute to that. And we really, that's the only sector other than energy, of course, which is directly related to greenhouse gases. This is the only sector where we really included a wholesale paradigm shift and all the bells and whistles. So that I'd be interested in having you look at the digest and giving us any feedback that you think about that. And then is your bill filed already?
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
been filed. You should, I put it the website that I created to do this initiative, the justfoodandwater.org. And if you go there, what you'll find is a description of the bill. It has links to the actual legislation. There's a lot of information about what the food web economy would look like. And you can reach me if you want to have more information, if you want me to come and talk to your groups. What we're trying to do is make it available to groups because, as I said, it's an economic program that the bill creates. So in establishing the economic program in your state, what you're doing essentially is creating that food web system that supports the local food system that's already happening. A system isn't really the right word. We have a lot of little local initiatives, you know, farm to table, small scale,
right,
this sort of thing, but there's no infrastructure to support it.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what you're doing is saying we have a publicly funded industrial food system. That's the wrong investment. It's taking us in the wrong direction. So let's put our public money into a system that actually is sustainable so that we can actually be successful in living sustainably.
Wonderful, wonderful, great. So Christine, can you just copy that from the chat and also send it to the farm and ag sector? And maybe we can get the bill digested into the digest like we were talking with Jan about the New Jersey bill that she was talking about. I think it was New Jersey. So it'd be great. And it'll be really helpful for if you look at the digest and you see elements of your bill or your approach that are not in the digest. That's really what we're looking for. The ideas that have been missed or that, you know, didn't make it in but the digest has a lot of organizations. The Heal Food Alliance is coming to speak at the event. I'm sure a lot of the groups that you're familiar with. And so we're just hoping to get all roads to merge, you know, get all the great ideas in one place and make sure that's not being left out, which is why we're comparing things to the House plan, et cetera. Anyone else that's new that wanted to just ask anything? Well, never be shy about it. We're very, you know, relaxed organizing group, particularly on our Monday calls.
Yeah, I'm new here. I'd like to chime in. I'm John, and I am a member of the Citizens Climate Lobby, and I've been volunteering for them for a few years, and I've been an intern with them in their national branch, their research branch. But they've got chapters all over the country, and you know, they're advocating for the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. It's currently HR 763 in Congress. I'm not sure how I got invited to this one. I must have attended a previous event and then I got on the mailing list. You know, I'm not sure if you guys have a relationship with Citizens Climate Lobby. Yeah, okay.
Very deep relationship with them, and Mark Reynolds is coming to speak at the symposium, and we have a whole team working on carbon pricing, and it has several wonderful representatives from CCL. I don't know if anybody's on that team is here tonight, but they're great. They're wonderful. We're wonderful relationships. They've come already and presented when we were going through the bills issues. They came and presented already, and we'll have them all back again in December probably to have that conversation more fully.
Okay. Yeah. Well, another group I wanted to ask about, they've reached out to Citizens Climate Lobby, and so I've gotten in touch and been volunteering for is the Environmental Voter Project, and this one it targets voters that don't get out to vote enough, and that tends one of the groups that is big in that category is environmentalists. People that identify the environment as their #1 issue are disproportionately poor voters.
Yeah.
And so this organization does a calling campaign, and you know they're trying to get people involved for the runoff Senate election in Georgia. So do you guys have a connection with that group?
I feel like We have engaged, I've engaged with a lot of those. We try to keep this in the C3 realm. So we do that kind of, encouraging people to vote, particularly with respect to climate. We did some memes, but that's not really our primary work because we're trying to, work on the legislative strategy. But I think, and this is going to be, those are going to be pretty partisan efforts.
Yeah, you would think, but no, they're actually
It's not.
401c3 also.
Oh, even for the runoff?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fabulous. All right. Well, then just shoot me anything that you want that would include on our blast about how to join and plug into that work, and we'll do it.
Todd?
Yeah.
Todd, can you explain what kind of lawyers you want again?
Sure. Any lawyer who is passionate about saving the planet.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have to be a lawyer that's in a group already.
No, to the contrary. I'm thinking that it would be great to have some people.
I think I know a couple. Oh.
All right. Anywhere in the country.
And then I didn't mean to say, yes, I can put the minutes onto Word. I didn't mean to confuse you. Whatever you need on the 9th and 10th, I just need a schedule.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We'll plug you in. Greg will be in touch.
After Turkey, I'll be good.
Wonderful.
Right.
Well, John, it's great to meet you. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. And the CCL folks have been like the model of what I wish the entire climate movement were doing, mass mobilization of citizens to lobby for legislation. When you get into what the legislation is where the conversation gets more complicated, but nevertheless, the organizing model is the model. And we're sort of doing a similar thing with our adopted district program. And Tara had a meeting with Representative Maloney's staff, and she brought members of CCL, even though that bill's not on our package yet, because it's a little more complicated conversation. And they all teamed up together and went and made the pitch together. And it was just a beautiful example of what we're trying to do. Unite, even if we disagree, and so we can all storm the barricades together next year and ongoing. Where did you say you're from again?
Northern Michigan.
All right, we have other people from Michigan today, right? Can't remember who all said they're from Michigan. At some point, we should really think about connecting all of our team members by state where they live. So we're gonna have to figure that out later. And we're asking people to adopt a district. So if you want to adopt your district, that would be a great way to get into it. We should put the link to adopt a district in the chat does anyone have it handy?
No, but I would advocate for having statewide meetings, because I think one of the problems that we face is that we've got rural areas and cities, and we have these tensions that sort of rise up. We saw that really big in Oregon because our state Republican legislators left. And so to deny a quorum and prevent a passage of climate legislation in Oregon. So if we can work together as districts, I think that it will lend legitimacy and credence to the work, because it isn't just blue work, it's state work. And there's a lot of good laws coming through the states. So anyway, I would be a cheerleader for that.
Wonderful. That sounds like a great idea. I mean, you're already doing it in Oregon. So the idea, well, that's great. So once we get, the adopted district teams more filled out, we should then invite them all to communicate with one another. And then they could convene like you've been doing in Oregon. It was a perfect model, really, of, how we started with adopted district and then it grew into the, merged basically. There's the link to the adopted district program in the chat. So if you haven't adopted a district yet, I'd really urge everyone to please adopt their district. It's just a way to start helping us build the infrastructure that we need. And that's where the work's going to happen. The votes, we have to collect them one at a time, and they happen in the congressional district. And then we'll get the congressional districts to unite, as was just being said, and then they can work on the Senate together collectively.
You might be interested to hear that part of the resources that our bill provides is actually to build networks between different areas of the state deliberately. So it's with the understanding that we really need that connection between urban and rural, especially. but that it's going to take leadership in the different counties, for instance. So we've even been working with our county leaders to say, we need you to be on board with this and we need to understand what the problem is. In addition, we've been talking with our watershed districts, and I know that's not something that every state has, but Minnesota does. And so it's an opportunity to align the kind of goals that they have for the different watershed districts with the bill's own goals for restoring ecosystems, for instance, and be able to then talk about how do we make that happen with this bill. So I just thought I'd let you know that we don't see this simply as a case of it's our local communities need to have a system that works. We understand that it's going to be critical for the urban and rural areas to be directly connected to each other within this food web economy that's designed through the bill. Because precisely because of the disparities, not only of investment in our rural communities, because they've been divested in most rural areas have suffered from divestment, but also because of these clear political divides between urban and rural areas. So we're trying to
very
find,
important. And
yeah.
Family Farm Action was leading the rural voter outreach effort. They had meetings 11 o'clock every day. And I think they're about to end. They were supposed to go to 2 weeks after the election. But this whole issue of rural engagement in the climate movement, and particularly in the food and farm arena where it makes, obviously sense, is a key issue. And building those systems is about building community, really, which is the underpinning of all what we're going to need to survive and withstand what's actually coming, no matter what we do, frankly. There's going to be a lot to cope with. And so building that kind of community infrastructure is going to be a big piece of it. We don't get too deep into policy discussions on these calls because we're really trying to organize at the macro level, knowing that the policy fights and their substance are going to unfold in other forms and over our heads in some respects. But we do briefings and substantive discussions of federal legislation, of course. And so it'll be interesting to have the state perspective to make sure that the federal stuff is, on point, that we're, everyone's excited about. But there's been a lot of local farm groups and organic farmers in those policy processes. So my suspicion is that they are in fact well represented. And those cushion, and there's a whole nother, I don't know if you've seen the sign-on letter yet for a rural agenda for the new administration. But I'll connect you to Cody Atkinson at Family Farm Alliance. And if you go ahead and email me, if you don't mind, Maria.
Okay.
My inbox is crazy. It's climatecrisispolicy@gmail.com.
Right.
I'm keeping on top of it, but I'm forgetting who said what. And so, that's where it's getting a little crazy.
What's the young man's name? Because I could email him directly.
Cody Atkinson.
Okay.
Anyone else who's new who would like to say hello or where you're from? Go ahead, Tara.
Todd, I'm not new, but Christine just prompted me, and it was a really good idea in case there's people who haven't gotten this email from me or people that won't be here on Wednesday. On Friday at 12 p.m. and at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to run some Zoom meetings for people that are interested in joining Adopt a District but don't have any lobbying experience and want to have a chance to just get a little rundown and be able to ask questions about lobbying, as well as to do a little role playing and practicing. So if there's anybody that's on this call that's doing Adopt a District and wants some practice or wants to feel more prepared for going and meeting your legislators, please email me and I'll put you in whichever session you want to join. Thanks.
Wonderful. So we're getting to you through email. So that you put your email there. Great. All right. I don't think I'm going to put that out in my presentation on Wednesday, but I will put the Adopt a District. And then if anyone signs up for Adopt a District, you can email them about the training. That's exciting. Bravo. Thank you for pulling all that together. and running with it.
No problem.
That's great. Any other last thoughts? Keith, how's Paul doing? Have you been in touch with Paul? I wrote him, and I know he was busy on the election, and we sort of lost touch. Looks like Keith has left us. All right, well, I think that's it for today. It's got to be close to 8:30. Yeah, 8:20.
No, I haven't been in touch with Paul. You know, the last time we talked, he was mentioning that his partner, his life partner, was having some health issues. I'm kind of concerned that that's what's going on with him, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, all right. I was just hoping it wasn't any micromanaging that I was doing on the.
No. I'm sure.
All right, good. I was mindful of that. Because, all right, well, we do want to bring his information back into the conversation of the next meetings, particularly this big picture of 100 gigatons of CO2 that need to be reduced. Is that 100 that we emit on an annual basis, or is that?
Yeah, annual basis, I'm sorry to say. Yeah, annual basis.
All right, so then we need, all right, so I just need you to help me think about how to formulate this message of what we want to ask. And the sooner the better, if you could shoot me an email about this, because I'll be talking to people and I want to start planting that seed with the elected officials, with the DNC council. I'm like, we want a measurement that equates to greenhouse gas reduction targets.
Right.
In their work. And if we could get nothing more than that, I think we would have added a huge value.
Right. I agree. Okay, good.
So I just need to know how to talk about it though. Am I saying we want to reduce 100 gigatons per year, basically? But so within 15 years, we need to be down to 0 gigatons is what we're trying to say. Is that right?
Yep.
I'm just so proud of myself for learning the word gigatons. And even though I still have no idea what it means, even though Paul did a great job trying to explain it to me.
We really need to start, I mean, practically, not only do we need to go to 0, but we need to actually pull back in what's in the atmosphere.
Right. Well,
otherwise we're locked into, 10 years ahead of where we are right now. So that's.
And particularly because we're not going to accomplish these goals. So we're going to overshoot. I mean, we're going to overshoot by far. I'm afraid to say that's my takeout from everything I'm hearing. It's going to be a disaster for the future populations. And so this extraction concept of, extracting from the air, as theoretical and crazy as it might sound, might be the only hope in the future. I don't mean to sound fatalistic, but saying that it shouldn't be part of the equation and we shouldn't do R&D on it and spend some money on it, to me, is short-sighted, because we're not going to have a choice, because we're going to overshoot and we're going to have to find some magic way to withdraw this stuff, in addition to everything else that we're proposing to do, even if we can get it done on any kind of timeline. So I think we're in the both and, suspenders and belts, say yes to everything. I don't think we're even dealing with a finite pie of money that we have to argue over. I think people are willing to spend money to make it carbon removal. Somebody just posted. Yeah, we try not to get too much into this kind of putting our thumbs into these policy positions, because that's where things start to break apart and the cohesion we're trying to build. But, we do all have individual thoughts and opinions that we end up sharing sometimes. So that's fine. All right, well, I think things are going great. We're building, we're growing. Our reach is just sort of happening increasingly, and geographically, we seem to have such incredible distribution. And you guys are the activists on the ground. And to me, that is the most important audience. So when I invite the senators and congresspeople to come and speak to you and they say no, I get offended. I'm like, if you don't want to come talk to these people and you only want to talk to the people who have access to you, how are you ever going to build the army you need, in your own self-interest? These are the people that you need to come forward and give us the plan and the marching orders, and how do we all join together? So that's what we're trying to get them to do. We'll keep pressing that. And if you, again, have access to any elected officials or any of the major environmental organizations, you want to help us secure their spot at the symposium, please let us know. Maritas wants to be in touch with the faith communities. Oh, we have all of those. So our main faith coordinator is Lavona Grove. I don't know if they want to, I can put that in there. But first, let's wrap up. I'll say goodbye to everybody who wants to leave. And if I'll put that in there afterwards. And just thank you, everybody. We're cooking with steam. Any other questions, let me know on email. I'm available. And thank you. Please invite your friends. Hi, Charlie. Thanks again for that presentation. Mhm.